Welcome back to another episode of the Edfields Podcast, your everyday law podcast. Today we are going to be talking about the subject of nuisance. We use the word nuisance every day in our everyday language, and I'm sure most of us don't even know that it has a legal meaning with legal implications. And so we're going to delve into that today. And I have with me Prince, Angela, and Derek to help with the discussions. How are you all doing?
We're good.
You're fine.
I am fine. I would say I'm fine. I can't.
If you're fine, it means I'm also fine.
And if Derek is fine, I'm
Yeah,
also
also fine. Okay, that's great. Okay, so Angela, can you tell us what nuisance is about?
Okay. So basically, it's a person's interference with another person's enjoyment of their property. So, and it's important because it's a constitutionally guaranteed right. Like, it's a right that the Constitution protects. And we all know the status of the Constitution in Ghana, like it's the supreme law. So if the Constitution protects something, then it's not to be taken lightly. And what the Constitution protects exactly is a person's right to privacy of his land, his property, his communication, etc. So if you do anything that affects someone's enjoyment of that privacy that is protected by the Constitution, then that's where we can say you are committing a nuisance to that person.
Okay.
Yes. So, and it can be in two forms. It can be private or it can be public. And it's pretty self-explanatory. If it's private, it means it's between two private persons, say adjoining landowners. Maybe you own land A, I own land B, and you are playing music all the time. 12 a.m. you are smoking. Those things that will.
No, what do you have against?
Oh, my problem is not with
Derek,
the
you've
smoke.
been doing that thing.
Oh no.
You've been playing music
So
at
they can
12
do it
a.m.
at any time, but not 12 a.m.
Oh no, but generally we are sleeping at 12 and you are killing us. Or every day, only you are burning ties in your backyard. There's always some smoke, something that is worrying my enjoyment of my land. Yes, basically. And then the public one is, as it says, public, where it affects not just one person, not just your neighbor, but the general public. Yeah.
So let me take the private one first. So for the private one, for the court to arrive at the conclusion that nuisance has been occasioned, a couple of things must be run through. The first thing would be that whoever is a complainant, right? And the complainant here is the person who is alleging that his or her property has been interfered with, right? Must have like a proprietary interest in the property. Yes, it sounds technical. Proprietary interest, I would break it down to mean that just have some claim to be on the property, just have some legal basis to be on the property. So let me give examples. Let's say you are a tenant, right? A tenant in a building would have interest in the property. Let's say you got a lease from the person. You are not the landlord, but then you got a lease from the person. You got some assignment or some event is happening. They give you the license to come, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. Only that people say this position is conflicting because it should always be the case that I can only suffer nuisance or be on the receiving end of nuisance if I am a proprietary owner. So if I am passing by and some nuisance has been occasioned, should I lawfully have the capacity to talk about it? But then the law is settled, although there were some times in the 90s where they considered people who would not have any interest in the property to be able to institute nuisance actions. But for now, you must have some proprietary interest. The next thing we'll look at is how unreasonable the interference is. And this is my favorite element of the private thoughts because sometimes what is unreasonable to Albi is not necessarily what is unreasonable to Prince. So let me put it in a proper context. What might be nuisance in, let's say, cantonment would not occasion a nuisance in No, let me use your area. What's your area called?
You have to be very careful.
Let me say down someone. No. Awoshi, right? You see, so the Awoshis, the Klagons.
Oh,
It's not your fault, Derek.
Like you understand. So unreasonableness is subjective. But then the court would look at certain things. One of the things the court would look at to arrive at whether the interference was unreasonable is the locality. Is it a private area? Is it a residential area? Is it a place delineated for industries? So the court will consider that, where that would sort of occasion or point the court to whether there has been an unreasonableness. Another thing I found out would be there's a public interest element. So, for instance, if they are building a hospital here and they keep on making noise, disturbing us, the court would be very lenient in saying they are committing nuisance, because at the end of the day, when they build a hospital, like, it serves the interest of all of us. There must also be that element of malice. So the person causing the nuisance, it must get to the point where the person is really intentional about what he or she is doing. So yeah, these are some of the things the court will look at in light of the private aspect.
you know, you never remember where I stay, but today you mentioned it.
I got it correctly.
Yeah, because he had mischief, malice.
Okay, so I heard you speak about the fact that nuisance depends on the area where it's taking place. So is it the case that sometimes we have almost every area you can find a church or a mosque, right? And then you would maybe
as a
you are
man
not
of
even
God.
a Christian, or you are just on a Sunday, you decide that you're home, maybe you're not feeling well, or you're doing something, you need some peace and quiet, and then you're hearing, all sorts of noise. And not even on Sunday. Some people do all nights. Some people do like all nights every single day. And then the music is loud. Whatever does, it's like you're inside the church, but you're not there. Same happens with the mosques. And sometimes even we have these bars in different areas, not the bar that you belong to. but-
Garage.
So when they are making all these noises, is it, and I am in the house, I have a proprietary interest, as you said, I'm a tenant or something. Do I have a right to, say, sue them or something?
So you see, if we don't really define this locality thing very well, people will construe what we are saying to mean that there are specific places that you can just go and shout. We should understand that every locality is zoned. There are places that are zoned purposely for residential purposes. Some are light industrial, some are heavy, like just industries. So the fact that it is industrial will not necessarily mean that there's not supposed to be any church. If you look at the Local Government Act, you look at certain bylaws of the MMDAs, which is the
District
Municipal
Assemblies.
Metropolitan District Assemblies. They have bylaws that define where you should stand to do what as far as noise is concerned. If you look at the Environmental Protection Agency Act, it tells you the amount of noise you can make during the day and at night, and then in residential areas and light industrial areas. So I'll give you this funny example. When I used to live at Aoshi, I'm no more there.
So you see the Aoshi I said. Yes.
When I used to be there was this church very close to my house, about 20 meters away. In the afternoon that I am not in the house, nobody will be praying. In the evening, around the time that everybody is chatting with people, nobody will be praying. After 9:30, come on, and it's loud. So for me, if I go there to say, oh, you are making noise, they will say, oh, Satan has come. You see,
That's true.
I never went there until once my father dropped. Then he heard the noise, so he went there to the church, called the pastor, and asked him, "What's the time?" He said 10:30. He said, "No, you have to close. I want to sleep." A man was there quoting the Bible. You can't destroy the work of God. And then he called the police. So my father called the police. He came there. A policeman came there. And then the man of God was trying to explain himself. And I could see clearly the policeman was getting convinced. Because it has become the norm.
Convinced by the man of God.
Yes.
Really?
That they are in their church. And so my father has a way of just deterring people from doing the wrong things. So he just looked at the guy's name here.
The
and
policeman.
Said, yes. And asked him, "Is that your real name?" He said yes. And he started typing on his phone. The policeman said, "You people should close." and they closed, right? It was not about they worshipping against what we believe in.
Yes.
Because everybody has the right to practice his faith. But looking at the locality, it was residential. And the time, it was wrong. The amount of noise was way beyond what they were supposed to. Because even when you are building, sometimes, I don't know, but those who build churches and big buildings, when you go for the building permit, sometimes they tell you that the building has to be soundproof.
Yeah.
So that you don't disturb another person. Because they say that, you see, your mouth comes before your nose. So where your nose ends, that's where someone's mouth begins. So where your right ends, that's where someone's right begins.
But you see, I think if you interact with most of them, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm very much involved in the church, so I would know. Their view, am I not involved in church? Their view is, they actually, for the most part, do not see anything wrong with it, right? They feel that spirituality must trump everything. Okay. So, like, if we are praying, we are talking to God for forgiveness, for blessings, whatever. Like, it's on top of the hierarchy. It's on top of the constitution. Maybe they are leaning into what St. Thomas Aquinas would always propose, that all laws are from God. So if we are dealing with our God, then we must not really care about what the constitution says or what the act says or something. No, but mostly that's their view.
No, nobody is saying don't do it, right? It takes me back to the people who preach on the street.
At dawn, at 4 a.m.
Yes.
Because that's when the demons are awake. You see, the demons...
So you see, circle. I'll use circle as an example. Every 3 meters, you see another person preaching. And they are using this megaphone. Yes. Everybody is making
noise.
Sound. If I say noise, they will come at me. A sound above certain level. So whose can be heard? At the same place, you hear other sounds. Yeah. Do you know that in Ghana, most of the drivers, they greet each other with the horn? It means he is greeting. All these things are nuisance. But because we think that it is normal and nobody has taken the pains to educate people that these are against the laws, nobody wants to move away from it. So as far as religion is concerned, fine, you can do it. Me, I have told people that when I become president, see, from in the morning, yes.
Let's start a campaign.
Yeah. In the morning until like 3 p.m., nobody will preach outside.
See, Prince, what do you have against God?
It's not God. Don't go there.
That's the thing.
You are part of our problems. Someone told me that when I was representing a client, he said, "You are part of Ghana's problems," because I was not supporting him. Yes, you see, I'm not supporting him. That's why. It's becoming too much.
Yeah. But I also think there's some gray area in that respect of locality where we don't have the zoning and planning and permitting are supposed to be done, but they are not done for certain places. So in those places, they have not necessarily been designated as residential areas. I'm sure if the planning was done properly, they would know how many residential homes are here, how many churches can be here, how many mosques can be here, and all that. But for places where the authorities have not actually done that, then anyone is doing whatever they want.
You see, Angela, you are very right. But we have people. Do you know that even those who preach outside, they are supposed to have permit from AMA and those district
You mean
assemblies?
those on the street?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
They give them license that stand here or there for a specific number of hours. So sometimes when you see two preachers fighting, you have to calm down and go and ask, because possibly someone has been given permit to stand there.
Yeah.
So you see, until we start enforcing the laws, people will always think that the abnormal things are normal.
Yeah.
And they will always find reasons for you. You see, when you go to my village, my house is not so far from someone who does a pig farm. Right? You know what comes out of that?
Yeah.
Like the smell.
Yes. So he's supposed to be very far away. And then he would do it just behind his house. When you go there, he will say, Nase Masasi. Do you see?
Yeah.
So now, maybe you will say that, because it's a village, when you are talking about suitability of the locality, it's okay. But how about the use
Yes.
of the land? Is it appropriate? Because it is your land, all right, you can subject it to whatever use you want to, provided it doesn't harm people.
That's the point people miss. The fact that it's your land does not mean you can use it anyhow to the detriment of others.
Yes.
Of course, you must consider the interest of your other neighbors and all of that. So if like some very bad odor as they are describing, like you must take everybody else into consideration. But then on the religion, I just wanted to make the point that, you see, yes, our laws would guarantee plurality of religion. So religion is protected under our laws. Yeah. Whether you are for God, whether you are for Allah, whether you are for my people who would pour the libation, wherever you belong, that's fine. But then you see, human rights, we always say that human rights are not absolute. Like where your rights would end is where someone else's rights would begin. So there are exceptions, right? So the mere fact that, yes, in Ghana, we affirm like religion and uphold every form of religion does not mean if you are doing things with respect to your religion, just do it anyhow to the detriment of others. It must be within limits, and once you cross the bounds, then we'll put God aside.
And on the example you gave with the pig farm, I think there's also that misconception that nuisance is just noise.
Yes.
So as long as he or she is not making noise, he's not drumming or playing some music, he's fine. But the smell, as you said, it also worries you. It also interferes with your enjoyment of the property. Sometimes it's even vibrations. Say someone is doing some drilling work in his house, but you can feel it in your house. So it's not necessarily what you hear or what you smell. It can be anything at all that will cause discomfort. Yes, discomfort.
You see, Alberta, even I think last year or so, I have this friend, the little thing he will call me. And he said his own house, he had given one room for rent. And he was not talking to the woman. And the woman wanted to create annoyance. So she would just gather refuse and be burning. So the smoke would just enter other rooms. He would go and talk to her, and then she would say no. I was like, see, this is nuisance. If you don't know and you fight with her, your matter will be worse. She's going to report you for abusing her. So just calm down. Go to the police station. Go and say XYZ has happened. Or if you think it is a private thing, it affects only you. It doesn't go beyond you to affect the public. Let's go to court. Because that is what I've been trained for. We should go to court. He went to the police station. The woman came there and started crying. She's sorry. She didn't know that smoke can also affect people. I'm like, how can you say that smoke cannot affect people. When you are even by smoke and it enters your eyes, see how it feels. You see, so what Angela is saying is very true. People are thinking that when you talk about nuisance, horns, you are talking about horns, you are talking about people preaching or people drumming, those things. But it can be smell, it can be refuse. There's even a case in Tort where someone had a hen coop, and the fowl were always flying over to come and defecate
on. Yes,
that is also a nuisance.
It even extends to, like, if you have flowers in the branches or a tree and the branches are extending onto the other person's property.
Yes.
But then that begs the question, in our legal system, the ordinary Ghanaian, you wake up and say, oh, a branch of someone's tree is overlapping onto my house. So I'm taking the person to court. But I mean, those things are important.
Mm-hmm. Then I should have cashed out by now. Because I just remembered in my previous apartment, the people that used to live like next to me, there were a lot of kids in that house. I don't know where they came from. But sometimes they throw rubbish over the wall into my place.
Yeah.
And the wall wasn't that, tall. So sometimes they jump over. Like, I'm in my room and I'm hearing somebody. Sometimes I'm afraid, like, maybe someone is coming to steal from me. But I just let it go. And even where I live now, there's a hotel next to my house. And they always burn rubbish. They leave the hotel, come to, like, the side of my house, which is where my apartment is. And then they burn rubbish, like, against our wall. So the smoke is always, you getting
see.
into. Then Prince, I'll come to you for some.
I am ready. I think we have to really take this topic very seriously because a lot of things are happening. That is one of the reasons my father doesn't want to live in Accra. He says the pollution is too much. It's not just the noise. The kind of things people do, you'll be shocked. You just be shocked. You can see someone holding rubbish and then waiting to see if nobody is around. No, you just haul it like that onto another person's door. Just like that. Just because, one, you may not want to expend money going to court. The only thing will be verbal abuse. And I've never seen that someone has been insulted and he died out of the insult. you see. Once I was in a VIP bus, and this man entered and then said, "Let's pray." I didn't close my eyes. So, no knowing he had seen me. And then he finished and the preaching was about me.
Yeah, they do that a lot.
Young men now, they don't have any regard for God. When you say they should pray, they will have earbuds in their ears, blah, blah, blah. And I knew it was just about me. So there was someone just seated by me. And I was like, do you know what he is doing? It's a crime. I was like, how? I said, you see, we don't know. When there is a moving vehicle, there's not supposed to be any hawking. There's not supposed to be any preaching. So the one who is preaching or hawking, and the one who allowed the person to preach or hawk in that moving vehicle, they are all guilty of that particular offense. It's nuisance. You are causing public nuisance. You see, but the person was shocked. I'm sure the person was thinking that, oh, I had seen that the preaching was about me. So,
so you are trying to.
You see, people just don't know. And I think it is good we are doing this for people to see, understand, and also act accordingly, because we are killing people slowly and we don't even know that that's what we are doing.
And I think this is one of the reasons why, I've seen a number of contracts for these, what do they call them? Event centers, right? Mm-hmm. If you're having your wedding or you're having a party, you'd realize that in some of the contracts, they'll tell you that you have to be out of there by 9 because you have to close the place by 10. That's because probably it's in a residential area, or they are considering the fact that there are people living there. Of course, there will be noise, but from 9, 10, you should expect that some people will be going to bed. Angela, for example, I heard you sleep by 9 o'clock.
So that's another thing that the courts would usually consider, like how recurring the nuisance is. People think whether or not something constitutes nuisance is how temporary or permanent it is. We've had cases where, so let me just say it simply, the absence of nuisance on certain days does not constitute a defense. So you can't say, oh, well, I was just disturbing you from Monday to Friday. Saturday and Sunday, I didn't do anything. So there's no nuisance. So the courts would look at how recurring the nuisance is or the potential
duration
of the nuisance to recur. Because in the instance of event centers, we've had cases where the court will take the view that, yes, it constitutes a nuisance, even if it was just one incident or one occasion. And we've also had other cases where the court would say, there's no potential of the nuisance recurring. So, yes, fine, we've come to have our wedding. We've disturbed you small. We are gone. It's fine. Forgive us. So, yeah.
Okay. So when you realize that someone is committing nuisance, what can you do? What do I go to the person? Do I go to the police? Do I go and break the person? What do I do? What can I do?
Is your approach. If you want to be a good person, you can start a conversation or make a demand that this is your conduct. This conduct has been consistent for this number of days. Kindly put a stop to it.
So I can go and see my lawyers to write
of course.
letter to
Straight
them.
away,
Okay.
yes. But if you want to be a bad person and like a very mischievous person like me, you file your writ straight away.
Oh, okay.
Then they'll see that
But-
we are not joking over here.
But before that, you should consider whether you can even take any action at all. I think Derek mentioned something about proprietary interest.
Yeah.
Are you someone with interest in the property you are seeking to protect? Say, I spend most of my time at work, so okay, I have an interest in work. So if the neighbors are doing something to this land, I can say something. But assume on a random Tuesday, I'm just passing by the JHS here. I don't have any business there. No one has invited me. Or maybe I'm even a trespasser. I'm not supposed to be there. I've gone there by my own busybody, whatever, and I'm there and I've seen people, I don't know, maybe smoking. I don't know anybody there, so I don't even know whether the people smoking are the rightful. It could be that they are the owners of the land. So it's not just any time, because we've said, oh, it's not just noise. You see people smoking here, smell. I'm passing by Nima, I smell something, so I'm going to sue them because I'm passing by and I smell it. So you first have to determine whether you have capacity to even remedy the situation before, and you do that by seeing whether you have any interest in the property, unless it's a public nuisance where it's affecting the general public and you are part of the Ghanaian public, then you can take an action. But something between private individuals that you have no business in, I don't think.
So it means that if, let's say I have a best friend, every day the person comes to complain to me that this is going on in my apartments, and I'm like, go and sue the person, and the person doesn't do anything.
So you want to sue for
my
her?
my best friend's business is my business. Do I
Not legal.
See, I will be the radical one amongst us. There's something called abatement. When you check the Local Government Act, it tells you that anytime AMA or the district assembly gets to see that someone has built somewhere he's not supposed to build, or someone's building is causing nuisance, the first thing they do is to give a notice. The notice will also tell you when you are supposed to do what. So sometimes you see that they will use a blue or a red, remove this by so and so. If you don't do it, they will come and break it and then serve you with a notice of the cost of the breaking.
So that you pay.
Yes, I would do same. If you are doing something that causes harm to my house, there's what I would do. I've done that before anyway.
You've broken someone's property.
No, I didn't break it. It was water. The person was directing the water to my wall so that the wall becomes weak. She was doing that to protect herself, but the water was coming from her house. So I also directed the water to her house so that it doesn't hit my wall. She started complaining plenty. I told her that, see, me, I am a lawyer. I know the law. I can abate nuisance reasonably. If it was plantain that was coming to my house, I would just cut the branches and throw it in. over the wall into your house, abatement. But see, I have to be cautious. I'm not saying that you should break people's walls. I'm saying reasonable.
Oh,
You should be reasonable.
That's not bad.
But there is abatement which you can
So
resort to.
abatement is like a technical term for
For
revenge.
no, for preventing the thing from going on and on without necessarily causing more harm than you were suffering.
Okay.
So you've decided to put the law in your own hands.
I'm not. The law gives you some breathing space. So when you get into that space, you breathe.
Oh yes, so that reminds. I think there was a case that say Prince was disturbing my peace, and then I decided I'll disturb him back. So like randomly they'll be blowing whistles, they'll be hitting things in their house, and when they went to court, the court said they hadn't done anything beyond what Prince was doing to them, so it constituted abatement.
It's proportionate.
Thank you.
Okay, so quickly, can we speak about what remedies are available? You've identified that the person is doing something that qualifies as nuisance. You've decided to sue the person. What are some of the remedies that you can ask the courts for?
Okay, so if you are successful in proving that indeed there was nuisance, you can ask for damages.
Okay.
Damages is basically like they are compensating you for the injury or harm or whatever inconvenience the person's nuisance caused you. You can also ask for an injunction so that they stop the nuisance they've
Very
been committing.
useful.
I think that's the most sought after one because no one wants it to
And even
continue.
with the injunction, most times you don't even have to wait till a judgment is given.
Yes.
Yeah.
You do it as soon as
While the case is pending. And I think the abatement is also in a way a remedy.
Yeah.
Yes. So damages, injunction, and abatement.
Okay. But
And in some instances too, your property might be distracted out of the nuisance, right? Yes. So in such instance, you can specifically ask for
The
a
value
refund
of
for the value of the.
what the person
Yeah.
damaged.
okay. All right. Thank you very much. We've had a very fruitful discussion today. And personally, I've learned a lot. I've learned new things here today. And I know that it's possible for me to cash out in the next few months.
So that's the thing. I've come to understand that if something happens, look at whether you have some rights under
Yeah.
law. You can just be there, you wake up, and then you're making some good money. Things like nuisance, people do not see, they think it's trivial,
Yeah.
it's obsolete or whatever. But trust me, I think one of the favorite things I've done as a lawyer is to work on like a nuisance case. And when we started the whole thing, the defendants made it look like these people, are they serious? What are they talking about? At the end of the day, we settled and then everybody made some money and everybody moved on with their life. So, yeah.
And I think we've talked a lot about what to do if you are the person who is suffering from the nuisance. But if someone takes you to court for nuisance, there
Like
are
the
also
defenses.
some defenses
Yeah.
available to you. So, assuming the person consented to it, like the example Prince was given with the war and maybe she had come to have a discussion with him that, oh, this water is logging my house, so I want to redirect it to your house. Then in that case, Prince
I
cannot.
wouldn't have done that.
But assuming he did,
Yeah.
he wouldn't have the right to go back to court and say this woman's water has been breaking down my wall because he consented to it. And then there are certain statutory authorities. There are certain people that the law gives them the mandate to do certain things. So like the AMA bringing you a notice or demolishing your property. You cannot take AMA to court that they've committed nuisance because they demolished your property because they are working under statutory authority.
So for that, it's like the general position.
Yeah.
There are exceptions. Of course, if the statutory authority doesn't act within the confines
Yes.
of the law, then
Like
you-
not giving the notice.
Exactly.
It has
Then,
happened before.
Yes, you might have those rights. And then there's also this thing which used to be very popular in our Ghanaian discussions, act of God. Act of God. So it simply means that if the nuisance was occasioned through no fault of the person, So let's say water is coming from someone's property, all right. It's coming onto your property, all right. But then it was as a result of some excessive rainfall. Let's say it was raining for like 50 days continuously. The person cannot reasonably do anything. So it's out of the control of the person. So yeah, that would also be a defense.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm sure we've learned a lot today. And the lesson is that we should be mindful of the things we do, because where someone's rights begin, that is where another person's rights end. So be mindful of the kind of actions you take, because you can be there and someone will be suing you for damages for nuisance. And I hope we've all learned a lot today. So thank you for joining us today. And I can't wait to see you on the next episode. Kindly follow us on all our social media platforms, the Edfields Podcast. See you next time.